Hello everybody and welcome to Toyah at Home and happy Christmas to you all. I am sitting on Fripp's official present sofa. It's absolutely laden. I have had so much fun. Look at all this. I mean, he's got about, I think, 40 presents in all. I would actually show you some of them. This one in particular, This Way Up, is so inventive. I am so impressed with myself for creating this one. And once he's opened it, you might get to see it. But he watches these blogs, so I can't really tell you anything. This one, which again should say This Way Up because it's very breakable. As soon as he opens it, he's going to burst into tears because it relates to something that makes him very homesick when he's on tour at Christmas. So it's a visual present, and I know as soon as he sees it, those tears of kind of happiness will fall. I bought this in Padstow this week. I managed to get down and see my family for the first time in 2 years face to face. And I always do my Christmas shopping in Padstow. And I came across this. You will learn after Christmas Day what it is, but it's purely about Christmas, and it very much relates to my husband's homesickness on the road, and it'll make him very, very happy indeed. And it's childlike. It's not a toy, but it's to just do with the visual pleasure of Christmas. It's been an extraordinary week. I'm loving Proud Cabaret. The people there are so astonishing. The audiences are astonishing. I think we had 5 stage invasions on the last show. And all I could see as I was working with Marie Devilreaux, a Brazilian fire artist, was the security trying to clear the audience away from the stage because we're using real fire and we're setting things on fire, and the fire has to be carried through the audience. And on this rather exceptional and brilliant show, the audience were mainly on stage. So it's just been so much fun. It's been wonderful. And there's been challenging things too. The head of the Brits contacted me to say thank you for supporting their choice on going gender neutral. And I wrote back and I said, look, this is not solved in an artist like me saying, I think it's a way to go. There's a lot of discussions to be had. There's a lot of seeing people, seeing gender specific, seeing gender non-specific. It's a completely new world, but I believe it's a way we have to go. And my last sentence to him in my email in return to his thanks was, if this saves a gender neutral person and a woman from being murdered because of their association with their gender and their choices anywhere around the world, then this has a greater aim. And I think it's an answer that will astonish him. But basically, we have to stop judging people by gender. We have to stop judging women by gender and making anyone invisible or second class because of their gender choices. And I just said to him, it goes beyond this. And if you're the first to tackle this and approach it and make it possible and has greater influence around the world of keeping human beings safe and having equal rights, then you are doing the best thing possible. It's a biggie, it's a minefield, it's a biggie, but this is about moving into a new era, moving properly into the new millennium, and everyone having long careers and creative careers and having their place in history as artists. God knows, I've had to fight for 40 years. I mean, if I looked like a supermodel, my career would have been different. I don't. I'm very small, I'm very stocky. There are people out there who don't fancy me, and my career has suffered for that. And thank goodness there's people out there who do fancy me and do see me and still come to see me perform. And there's those who've overstepped the mark and done things to me that are not right. It's a minefield, but we have to start addressing it in popular culture. Simple as that, simple as that. This week, the song ties in with all of that rather beautifully. Now, a lot of my songs are metaphysical and have other meanings, but I Want to Be Free is purely visceral. It's a scream from my solar plexus, a scream from my heart, from when I was a teenager, saying, accept me for who I am, what I am, and don't demonize me because I am different. Now let's look at the video by Godley and Cream. So that video was directed by Godley and Cream. It was the first time I worked with them. They were part of the band 10cc. Brilliant, brilliant songwriters, but also utterly brilliant video makers. And when we decided to go with Godley and Cream, because you used to tender out a song to all of the video directors and see who came up with the best storyline, I very much went with the flow and didn't know what to expect. And we filmed this in the middle of May when I Want to Be Free was already charting. And I was on tour with the Toyah band in 1981. And I remember I played Southampton, I think the Mayflower, And then I was driven to London, where we were to shoot the video with Godley and Cream directing. In the same studio, I did the studio sequences for Brave New World, but also later went on to do Ready Steady Cooking. And this studio was in Wandsworth. Now, all videos at this time were shot in one day. So a car collected me from Southampton. I overnighted in London, got to the studio really early. I believe the costumes were designed by Helen Scott, because the whole of this kind of 80s new romantic movement was moving into a monochrome feel. They were moving away from colour, so I wanted to use white, and I wanted to slightly be like a court jester, full of energy and mischief when we made this video. So in the studio with Godley and Cream, they put me in a black box, which was very familiar to me because we call the theatre stage, and I did start as an actress in theatre. It's called the black box. It's a magic space where you can make anything happen. But rather brilliantly, Godley and Cream had two parental figures high above me, looking down on me, just judging me and being very, very unsupportive of what I was getting up to. And the directors said to me, do whatever you want. We want you to smash up a wedding cake. We want you wrapped in foil and you explode out of it. We want you to be bombarded with domestic items and do whatever you want with the table and chairs. So I instantly started to pick up the table and chairs and throw them around. So it looked like a massive tantrum. For me, it was actually breaking free of what was expected of me. Now, going back in history to how this song started, I'm dyslexic. I was in a maths class at my school, Colmore Row, Birmingham, all-girls school. And in this maths class, I just was being left behind. It was like being in a wind tunnel and everyone was moving ahead of me and I was just falling further and further back. I wasn't waving, I was drowning. And I just wrote in my maths books, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to be nobody's fool. I want to be free. Close the book. Now, at this time, we were seeing what were called career officers who were suggesting careers to the pupils and giving us leaflets on things, anything from nursing to social services to teaching. And they asked me, what did I want to be? And I said, I'm going to be a singer and an actress. And in this meeting with the careers officer, I was told that wasn't possible. It didn't happen to people like me, i.e. I wasn't physically exceptional as a woman. And I just stared down this careers officer and I said, if I don't become a singer and an actress, I will become a bank robber. I will become infamous. And thus the meeting ended. And it started a sequence of comments between the school and my parents, ending in, I had a nice little figure, I will find a rich husband and have children. And I just became more and more rebellious and pushed away from all of this being imprinted on me. So by the time I was in that studio in Wandsworth, making the video with Godley and Cream, I was rebelling against the world as a Because I Want to Be Free was an instant hit. Godley and Cream had to turn around this video virtually within 24 hours to get it across all of the many, many TV programmes back then that featured music. You had Razzmatazz, Crackerjack, you had the Saturday morning programmes, and of course Top of the Pops, but I appeared with the band on Top of the Pops. And I just remember they turned it around so quickly, and it was exciting. To work with them was genuinely exciting. But let's step back to March 1981, when this was the last song to be finished on the album Anthem. It's a Mystery was already a hit and had broken me nationwide and across Europe as an artist. And I remember in my home, which was Henley, having to write this lyric to the backing track the band had given me, which I loved. But having to write the lyric in the morning, knowing that by 2 p.m. that day, I would be going into the Marquee Studios to record it. So I was quite under a lot of pressure. And I found this exercise book, my maths book, and what I did with all of my school books was I wrote poetry in them. From about the age of 12 onwards, I would just write endless poetry ideas. And I opened up this maths book, and there were these magic lines. I don't want to go to school, don't want to be nobody's fool, I want to be free. And that visceral scream inside me of needing to break free of convention, to be true to myself. And both Fripp and I believe artists, to survive, have to be true to themselves. And this visceral scream, it's almost like a primal scream, came out of me, that I realized that there were many, many young people in that day, in that moment, needing to express this because they were being crushed by the teaching system. Now, another example of this in 1980, and I wasn't inspired by this, I've only learnt this recently because I'm doing a lot of telly about it at the moment, was Roger Waters and Pink Floyd wrote Brick in the Wall Part 2 about going to boarding school and about being oppressed by the teaching system. I was oppressed because I was dyslexic and couldn't express myself, but I knew that what I was being prepped for wasn't me. And then we get to the history of punk. And I started dyeing my hair around the age of 14 because I was a hair model. And for a woman to do that 50 years ago endangered her life. I used to have punches thrown at me. Buses would not let me on board. If I walked home late at night, and often I had to do, I was perceived as someone who was sexually promiscuous because that's what I was signalling to society at that time. And women in punk, although protected by other punk rockers, were seen as sexually promiscuous. And if you weren't, it was a tough place to be. So here I was, March 1981, writing this song. A song that went on to be perceived by the industry as a novelty song. Well, fucking bollocks to that. It's a song about individuality, about the right of being true to yourself and being different. And this just flew out of me. The rage that I had up until that point. And I was just turning 23. And I don't want to go to school, don't want to be nobody's fool, I want to be free, I want to be me. I don't want to be sweet and neat. I don't want somebody else living their life for me. It flew out of me, as did the chorus, which was kind of a tribal call to the tribe of Toyah, but also the generational tribe who were changing the world at that time. And it took off. And it's not a novelty song. It's hugely personally political. And it was adopted recently for the stage play of Jubilee by the gender fluid generation I worked with in 2018. This new generation saw it as a song that talked about their rights, to make their choices, to be who and what they wanted to be, because they knew who they were inside and inside their heads, without them suffering physical threat, not getting jobs, being ignored by society, being mocked or laughed at. And that moment on stage at the Royal Exchange Theatre with that particular team of actors, activists and performers was one of the proudest moments in my life, because I have fought for this song not to be treated as something trivial. And again, when the song came out, within a week I was hearing from people around the world, mainly jailers in prisons, but remember, people are imprisoned for political statement as well as for crime, and they're in prison because they speak out. And I was hearing from jailers around the world saying, did I know that this song was being sung through the bars every morning as the lights went on? And I had a sense of pride in that. There is a huge sense of recognition that we are not all the same kind of human being. There is vast difference in us all, and there's vast choice that we must have as individuals. And of course we need law and we need rules and regulations, but they mustn't shut other people out. And this is how I see this song. It's a glorious, visceral, expressive piece about people needing to be true to themselves and needing to be acknowledged for being different. And I think we have moved quite remarkably in the last 50 years, where women can be individualistic, where people can question what they are gender-wise inside and express it without fear of being shut out by their families and without fear of physical punishment from others. And we need to bring this into the workplace, into the creative place, and onto the streets, the way punk brought expressionism onto the streets. I am immensely proud of this song. So we are going to play you the posh pop version at Putney Half Moon, because this has a deeply reflective quality about it. It's reflective because for me, I've been singing this for 40 years and it reflects back on my teenage experiences. But it also is reflective for all of you who've been following me for 42 years. And it's about how we have expressed ourselves, pushed for change, have stood by our own beliefs, and the sheer respect I have for new generations, the present young generation, who I think are utterly remarkable, and how we stand by you. And we stand by, metaphorically, our children, and how we want to support you and believe in you. So tonight there will be a Toyah and Robert Burning question. My husband is home. I have missed him so much. Christmas begins. And tomorrow we have another ridiculous Sunday lunch. But where it's going to get interesting now in the following weeks is because Robert's at home, there's going to be a few changes. Happy Christmas to you all, and thank you so much for your support.
I don't wanna go to school, don't wanna be nobody's fool. I wanna be free, I wanna be me. I don't wanna be sweet and neat, I don't want somebody living my life for me. I wanna be free. I'm gonna turn this world inside out. I'm gonna turn Siberia upside down. I'm gonna walk the street, scream and shout. I'm gonna crawl through the alleyways, being very loud. I don't wanna be told what to wear, as long as you're warm, who cares? I wanna be free, I wanna be me. So what if I dye my hair? I've still got a brain up there, and I'm gonna be free, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna turn this world inside out. I'm gonna turn south, burn ya upside down. I'm gonna walk the street, scream and shout. I'm gonna crawl through the alleyways, being very loud. I'm gonna turn this world. I'm gonna turn suburbia. I'm gonna walk the street, scream and shout. I'm gonna crawl through the alleyways, being very loud. Tear down the wallpaper, turn down the cat, tear up the carpet and get rid of that. Blow up the TV, blow up the car. Without these things you don't know where you are. Burn down the sky, all magazines. Pull down the abattoirs, all that you've seen. Everything in life should be totally free. Live and let live all of your dreams. Turn this world. I'm gonna turn suburbia upside down. I'm gonna walk the street, scream and shout. I'm gonna crawl through the alleyways, being very loud. I'm gonna turn this world inside out. I'm gonna turn suburbia. I'm gonna walk the street, scream and shout. I'm gonna crawl through the alleyways, being very loud. I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free.